Today we'll see few XML feature or profile feature called XML identifier instances. It is very useful feature. We need to understand that feature. So where you can see this one is you can just forget about the XML what structure you are building it. So you can see there is an called add identifier instance. Add identifier instance. So generally what we will do, what exactly the identifier instance is here is, this is especially used in map shape. Map shape. So if you see some example, I'll show you this one. Okay, this is how it looks like. This is XML. I'm just XML. Okay, this is XML. I'm just want to consider this is how XML is coming. So what I wanted to mention is I want to generate something like flat file user comma password. So user వచ్చేసి వేమ పాస్వర్డ్ వచ్చేసి రెడ్డి. సో నెక్స్ట్ వన్ కూడా వేమ. Something like I want to generate the flat file. If I give an XML like this, I should be in a position to get the required output like this. So how can we achieve that? So generally, right? So what's a general format is? It's if you see, two properties are there. Maybe if we just align this thing, right, something. So two properties are there, and each property value here you have something like two property elements are there. Two property elements are there. It means whatever the keys are will becomes a column headers and values will be like this. But how can we, if you don't use the identifier instance, so basically you don't know when map is coming, right? When map is coming, don't know whether it's a this particular first property will be a user or first property will be password. So Boomi doesn't support an XPath feature directly. XPath is basically for, as I mentioned earlier, we will be using XPath to navigate to the XML document to identify the required value. So if I want to take an user value, right, how do I need to write something XPath expression, something like this. Property value pair, property where key is equal to user. What I am trying to do here is I'm going to the property value pair wherever the property key is user, and then only I'm taking value. It means what and all values will come. First case is Vema, second case is Vema1 will come, because I'm only looking for the property and taking a value only if key is equal to this one. So key is only is constant like this. So basically this is the one we need to write an XPath expression. But this similar feature, what is coming, what exactly coming with is they have given an option called add identifier instance. To achieve similar requirement, they have given two options called add identifier instance, qualifier. This is the one. So with this one, if you, without needing a custom script, you can use this feature extensionally whenever you want. So what we need to do here is, simple thing is, first thing is we already have an XML. Okay, I pass this XML structure here and then go to the map shape. So just go here. So as you can see the structure, right? So properties, under the two properties are there. Each property is unbounded, that's why it can be repeatable. Okay, under each property it has two properties again. Similar thing I defined it. And this also, you forget about this one. This also unbounded. This structure is there. Only what you are seeing is addition these values, you are seeing it. Okay, when you are applying an instances here, right? When you are applying here, Here you can specify inject. Here what I did is based on some key name I passed a value. Even you can specify the key name as well. Next pass something, right? Similar options even they given here. Maybe something like in second position corresponding value I need to take it. Something like that. So even when you are adding an identifier instance, you have an option of either specifying the occurrence, right, and or qualifier. First thing is, let's say, oh, we wanted to identify, because if you say property key value pair, right, I don't know, right? So the property key value pair can be repeatable twice, and I don't know, maybe first occurrence may be a user, second occurrence can be a password, or it might be ulta. First can be a password, second will be user. So I need to map something like here. I have a profile. I need to map user and password. So whenever you see a user here, user, then only I need to pass a value to this user field. So this is very easily you can achieve with the XML identifier instances. So how you can achieve is, so first wherever you want to do, what you need to do is, first thing is, if you go to, so first you what all conditions you want to apply, you can define as a qualifiers. You just go to key, and okay, I think I might have deleted it. Okay, here. So first thing is, we can add the qualifiers, then later on we can include those values. So I'll show you both options now. Okay, now you go to here, add identifier instances. You can see you have two options. Either you can specify occurrence, you want to go first occurrence or last occurrence, or even you can type the fourth occurrence, fifth occurrence, something like that. Or you want to go with qualifier. Qualifier means you are going to something like checking with this some particular column name against fixed value. If this value is again a dynamic value, you cannot go with identifier. You need to go with custom script. So if it is a constant value, you can go with these options. Identifier with qualifier nothing but this is something what I'm trying to say. Occurrence is nothing but something like this. Both you can do it. So first thing what I showed here is similar the way how I added it here. Okay, once if I let me one more time, add identifier instance. See, you can see one more time added, but you since it's a, you can see three diamond symbols means it's basically a complex element, not a simple element. So whenever you add any identifier instance at the parent, all corresponding childs will be automatically added. All corresponding childs will be automatically added. You can see you don't have an option to expand it. Property occurrence 1, property occurrence last is equal to 3. But if you just go to a map shape, right? You can see property occurrence 1, under that key automatically whatever the child is there, it will automatically gets copied. So in this case, and like this I already defined here, you can edit it. 1 last, I selected last. So this time I only use the indexing. I didn't use anything called a qualifier one. So you can just let me just show you. Get it? Okay, so no changes to the profile. So when I done like this, so because I know that maybe if you know really that, okay, always the first will be a user, second will be a password. Still that also you can, if you know exactly the first always comes user, second will be password, then you can define the first occurrence. So whatever you define, right, all these values is segregated into two sets: occurrence one, occurrence last. Occurrence last means when you have two occurrences, when you specify occurrence is equal to or even last also, both will be the same one. So I map on the first one, when it's first occurrence, it will be a key, username, then corresponding value, then password. I map it like this. Okay, if we just run it, you will get to know. So, and one more thing, the best example, one more thing, right? So there is one more. If you go through community, right, you will have one more things will be there. So then student report and one student, one student. Then it will be report, and the report it would be like this. And you have something like subject, let's say mathematics, maths. That will be 17. Like this, you can just go. So, but some report should come something like report something need to come like X Y student name something like maths. Like this, you need to come let's X Y Z 70 comma 50 comma 65. If you want to generate output like this, you can only this is achieve with only you can achieve with this identifier instances. Otherwise, very difficult. Okay, now you can see you might have get properly. In such cases, right, whenever you want to identify a list of key value pairs uniquely, then you can go with a and you want to based on some key value pair you want to get some value, then you can go for the identifier instances. Now defined this one, right? So I'll remove this one.
Then I have a question. When we use this use case, when we need to have a particular value, then we have to go for this.
So I told you use case, right? So I told you use case something like basically I can say simple X path expressions whenever you want a simple X path expressions based on some key value. Here if I want to know based on subject name I want to retrieve the max. So this is my XML structure. So
Okay, in the whatever the XML, what you take it as, we just only see
anything
subject
XML.
number. Okay,
So based on some mathematic subject name, if I want to get marks, based on subject name, I want to get marks, then subject name. But all report will be the same structure, and same root elements will be there, same sub elements will be there, and these values are constant. You want to convert these kind of structures into like this, then you need to go for that. So we each and every time you go and filter with this one. So most of the times we use NetSuite or something. You'll use identifier instances when you're working with the NetSuite. So here, this is how it looks like. Now I'll add for the same example, right? I'll be going to add a qualifier. So earlier, what I showed is just based on the max occurrences, but I'll show you now by the uh, uh, key value based. Sorry, qualifiers as well. So for the keys, what I want to identify two individual keys. One key will be one key will be I have validate. Okay. One key will be user, other key will be password. Okay, I want to identify two keys individually. So I will maybe getting the two property tags. One property tag will be having the key with username. Another property will be having the key will be user value will be password. But whenever you specifying, right, defining whenever you defining, right, so this value, key value, user and password, it will be exactly same what you define it, user password, because it will be applying the matching. So now you can define it. You already defined the qualifier. You just add into this qualifiers into an identifier instance. Click on add identifier instances. Click on identifier property. Key is equal to username. You can see automatically selected. Key is equal to user. You got added, right? Similarly, I am doing it here. Sorry, not child. Okay, so when I added it, the element, so automatically the corresponding values also will be. You can see key is equal to user, key is equal to password. If user password is case sensitive, it need to match exactly. It need to match. So if we just so the identifier and qualifier, these two features are very good when you wanted to, but this is only applicable for the XML profile. No other profiles. Because most of the times we'll be getting filtering. You want to based on some key value pairs, you want to filter it, right? So that's why you can use this one. So last time my colleague has one more requirement where he is be getting a JSON response from the web services, where this response based on some key value pair, based on it returns multiple objects. In one of the object, you are specifying one value. If this key value is equal to value, then he need to take first occurrence only. Maybe let's say out of 10 objects are coming, his requirement is satisfying only for the 6 objects. So 4 objects have got filtered, it's not required. But out of 6 objects, what is his criteria is satisfied, he want to take only first one. Then you can apply the add instance qualifier, you can apply all these things in. So you don't need to write any piece of a custom scripting. So what I was is most of the times, right, I used to write an XPath expression because I quite much comfortable with XPath expressions. I used to write, so that's why I didn't even think about how to do it. So when I was searching something else in the portal for yesterday, I came across this feature. So I just explored it and I just given you.
Okay.
Even for this thing, I might have written XPath expressions or small custom script to get the value. But ideally, don't require to write anything at all. So you can see similar things even achieved with either earlier with by occurrence, by qualifier. Both can be achievable.
Okay, occurrence instance, we can declare how many occurrences it should be.
Which occurrences you want?
Okay.
Which occurrences? So if you have four objects are coming, based on any occurrence you want to map it. Maybe only first occurrence I need to map, second occurrence I need to map, or only third occurrence I need to map, something like that. Based on some specific. So if you mention like this, right? Simple. If you map it key value pair, right? I don't know when key will be a user will be. So in that case, if you directly map it here, right? Key can be mapped to this password also can be mapped.
Okay.
If it is a first value comes, right? The first value comes, username comes, it will map to user. But where I need to map the value. So in this case, I don't require key at all. Only value I need to map it. So that's why what they are doing the mapping is after adding this identifier, it take entire property set, and then it's filtering it. It's making much easier segregating entire set into segregating into different parts. Here you can see one is user part, otherwise part. So wherever users, only that will come here. Wherever the password, it will be this condition will be satisfied and it will come here, so that you can easily map it different portions, whatever the portion you want. So this one. So if you want to continue, then I can suggest you to go through Auth 2 framework. for tomorrow's class. What I am going to do for tomorrow's class is uh, you can just go for Google OAUTH to Google Auth or something. You can just Google it. They have given what to document a very good document is given by Google to understand how these things
How the
happens.
problem is.
Yeah, this one, yeah, correct. So you can just go through this.
Okay.
This is document is very good. So it's from scratch. Anybody can try to understand it. So main intention of what to is you are just delegating a access. It's just delegating an access. You want to publish something, you want to publish to Twitter. You might be sharing it to Twitter or something, right? Whenever you might be reading some news, and you might be want to share that test article. You want to share it, and wherever you want to, maybe WhatsApp or maybe other account. Then it automatically asks you to log in which email ID you want to use in, or which account you want to log in. If you see in the URL, it will always go for the what to. It
Okay.
means basically it will take the customer, it will take the consent, whether you want to allow or not. Based on that, it will automatically log in. So most of the websites, right? If you don't know account, if you don't have an account, it asks you to log in with the Google or Facebook accounts.
Yes. Always we have that option.
It is not, but it doesn't mean that it's you are creating an account with them. They are using Google as an access. They are allowing you to access their services. So this basically an username password delegation. You are taking some username and password. You are allowing with based on that. You are allowing them to access their services. So this is different things like how when you directly an actual owner is trying to interact. When it's just a client who is not part of the services, it just want to use the services. And if any web application I want to use or any customer or user I don't want system to access it. I want always user to be accessed. So whenever the consent comes, user need to say whether yes or no, something like that. How when different persons are there and how these things will be there. So why exactly I'm going with this Google is I'm going to explain you the Google Sheet connector. Google Sheet connector in the with this, what I can explain you is first I'll set up the OAuth to how to create the connectivity with the Google Sheet connector with the Boomi, and I'll show you how to write the data into an Excel sheet, and that will be visible in the Excel sheet, and also how you can delete the how you can delete the data from an Excel sheet, how to query the data from Excel sheet, and then delete it. These things I am going to show you. But inserting the data into an Excel sheet and querying the data from Excel sheet, yes, these are the Google Sheet inbuilt connector is already doing it. But deleting the rows, it is not supported by the Boomi connector by default. So, but still Google has an APIs. Google Sheet has an APIs, but Boomi was not using all those. Boomi connector was not used all those things. So you can use HTTP client connector with OAuth to we can do that. So that's already I already done for one of the use cases. I wanted to explain you so it will be more useful. Somewhere I done it.
You know, here in XML message, what did you show me? Message, what did you show you? Just to give the data.
Input I passed. I passed just input.
Directly instead of.
Somewhere
Okay,
else.
can you share that input file for to me if you are having that? Because I can save. If you can save and do that.
Sending in the chat.
Yeah. You can copy.
You can take any example. Just I given you this. You can take anything.
Yeah.
Maybe even student one also.
So first I will go with this one, then I will try with my own example. Just for reference sake, I will do.
Somewhere community I tried this one. I'm just seeing where is this. Okay, the flow we have. Okay.
So now again, we have to see some use cases which we cannot, I mean, when we are using connectors, right?
Sorry, voice
Because we
breaking.
can, now, oh, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, usually we need to know more about that without using connectors, using that cache and I mean the subflows to trigger a subflows using that.
So so cache I'll cover tomorrow. I thought of
No,
covering this with
hey,
Salesforce.
no, no, just I'm telling you so that we can cover
Mm.
some other time also. Just I'm reminding you. We can
Yeah.
see some cases because most of the youth told me to like that like in most of the cases we don't use much connectors. We'll be
So
using
I'll explain.
caches like you got it. When the flow is complex like that in that scenario.
So So I'll explain you this one. So one more thing. This is a Google Sheet connector. Forget about this. This is a Google Sheet connector. This is an example. I'll explain you this how we can do that. Okay. So last time I web services was not working. The reason for web service was not working. The only get path parameter option was not working. This is the one. So the web service is we are able to see the value gets printed parameter underscore ID. If you don't remember, you can try to get these things. So the problem what I did is, so when you trigger the web service, right? Trigger the web services, the ID will be passing and the ID will automatically store it in a dynamic process property called parameter underscore ID. And when you are using process call, process call, what I did earlier is I directly called a connector here. So what happens is when you directly call a connector here means this is a one parent thread. This is a parent thread. In the parent thread, your process will be the parent your process will be starting, and the child thread your child thread your process will be executing it. So the communication, right? The parent thread cannot pass any data to the child thread. So what happens in this case here? Where is this? View, rest, access visualization portal. So if you remember, when you try this is working. Okay, we are work, you can see the data is coming. But when it goes to this one didn't work earlier. Let me pass 198. You can see data is coming. When you pass this 198 ID, this basically comes as a dynamic process property with name param underscore that property name that you give here, the parameter name. So this is coming to input. But since you are using a child process as a start shape connector instead of data pass through, the process, the property that comes in the parent process that was not able to use it in the child process because child process was executing a different thread. So when you set up like this, right, start shape, when you set up like the way how I change it, I just change the start shape to data pass through so that I data pass through in the sense parent process can pass the data to child process now. After that,
Okay,
I use
instead of
the
connector.
connector here. Yes, I instead of using the connector in the start shape, I use the connector in the next shape. So I just verified it if the property is coming or not. This is working. So then I realized that okay, the since I already use a direct database connector here, that was not working. Even though process the parameter comes with the parent process, the value is no more valid when it comes to a child process, because parent process and child process both are executing a different thread. When and parent, the properties that you define in parent process, that is the existing parent process, is no longer able to access in the child process. So that's why I changed that connector shape to data pass through, so that I have given an option where the parent process can pass the data to child process. Then I use the same connector again. Instead of using a start shape, I use a separate connector. This was okay. This is the thing. Only thing is, now earlier all this one directly moved to start shape. If you might have practiced this one, right? If you open this process called customer ID, you will see the difference. That is the reason why it is not working. So after changing this, yes, it's working. You can see the single one also is coming.
Oh,
So generally what happens here is, when you do that one, right, I'll show you this one. You can see, if you open previous one, past week, right, then you will see there's something different. See, sometimes it gets customer by ID, sub process get triggered. You see the symbol?
yeah, the branch.
This one is before that, but here you don't see the process as a separate execution, because the child process is also getting created, but that is created inline. It's not a separate one. So here it is creating as inline. In this case, what
Yeah,
happens? Created as a separate one. It's
yeah,
different thread. It's not able to access it. So then I realized that okay, that because of that it's not happening. So then I changed it. So you don't see the subprocess name at all. If you just open this one, right?
yeah,
Process state is basically, I'll explain this one when you go. Process state is basically to know how many shapes is executed, how many times executed, to show everything. See inside process, then it's everything is bent. But if you see this one, right, earlier one, it could not able to trigger anything. You can see it not going inside. It's not going in the sense database connector did not given any result. Why? Because we are trying to use a where condition, but the condition value is not getting populated.
yeah.
But even if this corresponding things you see, right, this corresponding parent process, you can see it just executing the triggering the parent process. Spanned execution. Spanned means separate thread. Okay.
Single. Yeah.
So it's not able to execute start at all. So you can see the difference from process call, spanned, process call. You can see the difference like this. Maybe you can just sorry, can you come again?
No, no, no. This it's like a step-by-step updates, which we can see later.
So this is a connector shape. Connector shape. In the start shape, if you use connector. So if you see this one, latest one, you can see how these things happening. So you see, this is executed as a separate process. This is even though these all elements, right? The all elements are part of child process, but it's make child process shapes also as a inline to the parent process. Means it's executing the same thread, whereas it's executing a different thread. This one is. But here it doesn't show like a sale process. It's just showing as a process call. Again, process call entering sub process, and sub process elements also something looking like a inline parent process shapes. So that's a difference.
Yeah.
You can go through the auth 2. Maybe if you want, I can even ping you this chart.
Yeah. Single.
And if you want to try this one, right? So basically, you should have an Gmail account, and you can tweak the settings and other things are there. So we just need to create all the setups. Tomorrow I'll explain the setup, and
Sure.
you can Maybe we can connect a bit early tomorrow because it will take some time. I need to
Okay.
explain
Uh,
two
we can
concepts.
continue by 6.
So I think maybe till 7 o'clock it may extend the class.
No problem. Yeah, I am ready for that because however this week is now I don't have any commitment.
So you just need to you will be a good concept tomorrow.
Sure.
So you will be using the OAuth 2 as a inbuilt connection or inbuilt operations as well as a different HTTP client as a generic one. Also, I'll be showing it.
Oh, okay.
So how to generate OAuth 2 credentials? I'll show you all those things.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So then we later on we'll show you the custom scripting, how we can incorporate the custom scripting. I'll show you a similar that I showed a simple example here, right? Similar to that, I'll show you one more use case similar to that. I'll show you the how to use the custom scripting there. How much simplified using the custom scripting. Now later on I'll show you how to use XSLT. Instead of going with all these things, if you're very good at XSLT, how simple it will be like that to
Okay.
do the same task.
Sure. We'll be using this in the real time, I mean, the daily life, right?
Yeah, 100%. XSLT is you
Yeah.
will use lot of you will use a lot of things. You'll be going to use it.